I got a jacket. So I'm doing the thing, y'all. Tiffin, somebody, I got your mask?
Yeah.
All right, we are late to our gun range class, but there's a lot of people here. So let me put my mask on. It's outside. They know we were running late. But you don't have your mask? No. We're here, y'all. Let's go and learn about gun safety. So we walking. Big ass dog. What he going?
Life in a world that keeps changing. Think that it's progress you're making. Copy and paste pretty faces all the time. Pictures so perfect we play through. Only cause you set up the angle. Web that you weave got us tangled. Caught in what's before our eyes. Show.
He look like Cujo. Dog, he coming over here, y'all. He look like Cujo. Ooh, so. He look like Cujo. Don't come over here. Cujo. People probably laughing at us. Cujo, you better back up, Cujo. Oh, he's directing us. Okay, where we gonna sit, Cujo? Look, there's somebody coming. Cool.
For consumption on premise. What does it say after the comma? Which portion of the establishment is primarily devoted to such purpose? So you could carry into a restaurant area, but do not be in the bar area. You could go to a Walmart and Dixie gas station with your individual airlines and look at the policies that they have for transporting fire. When you find conflicting policies, make sure you follow the stricter of the two. Right? TSA, angry or threatening manner, not necessary in self-defense, then you're subject to arrest. Alright. The bottom line here is just because you have a concealed weapon permit and now you're allowed to carry your gun or carry your weapon doesn't mean you're allowed to use it, show it, display it whenever you're angry, frustrated, or overzealous or try to show off. Well, under the influence of alcohol, chemical substances, and controlled substances and penalties. Paragraph 3 says, if you are intoxicated to the point where your normal faculties are impaired, then you cannot carry a gun. That includes alcohol, over-the-counter medication, lawful self-defense, or defense of your property. So just because you're intoxicated doesn't mean you've lost the right to self-defense. Right? Just because you're intoxicated doesn't mean it is required by Florida law. You must safely store your firearm in a way that a reasonable person would consider it secure from unauthorized access. Okay. Any questions there? That's not just children, it's also adults.
That was the question.
Yeah, it's not just children, it's also adults. On page 22, to kind of back up on that column, it is unlawful, capitalized paragraph here, it is unlawful and punishable by imprisonment and fine for any adult to store or leave a firearm in any place within the reach or easy access of a minor, or to transfer ownership or possession of a firearm to a minor or a person of unsound mind. So not just children, also adults. Only applies to those who do not provoke, period. So what does that mean? If someone says, catch me outside, how about that, right? And you say, well, let's go outside. Matter of fact, why go outside? Let's just do it right here, right now.
Yeah.
Oh, you got something for me? I got something for you. We can take it as far as you want to take it. Come on, let's go. If you say stuff like that,
You're
you start
provoking
fighting,
it.
Who's the victim here?
Me.
Nobody is.
What?
Because
you going back to
they
it.
called you.
Called
If
you
you
out?
agree to mutual combat, well, then you can't claim self-defense. Right?
You gotta now, buddy. You don't want none of this. You don't want none of this. Go
I
ahead,
can't say
buddy.
like, you won't.
You don't want none of this.
Two people start fighting. They
Yeah.
both agree to it, right? F you, F you, F you, F you. They start fighting. Cops get there. Do you want to press charges? No. Do you want to press charges? No. Guess who goes to jail?
Both of you.
We both do.
Damn.
Right, hold on, Fred. You cannot agree to mutual combat. You are a mutual combatant. Okay? You must react to someone else's actions. When you think about the word defense, it is not offense. If someone else has committed the offense, you are defending yourself against that offense. As a result, you are reacting to someone else's actions. Right? Your reaction must be reasonable. It must be necessary. You will see these words in both paragraphs. Paragraph 1 and 2 are written almost identically. The only difference is paragraph 1 says you could use less lethal force, but not lethal force. Paragraph 2 says you can use lethal force to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm or the imminent commission of a forcible felony. What is the word imminent? Imminent is derived from the word immediate. Right? So it's not that it might happen or it's about to happen. No, it is happening right now. It is immediate, and you must react to it right away because it is imminent. That reaction must be reasonable, it must be necessary. So if someone spits in your face and calls you a racial slur, and they punch you right in the mouth, can you shoot this person?
No.
No.
No, because you're not going to die from it.
Oh, that's true. Okay.
You might want to shoot them,
But
they might
you're not going to die from
but
being punched in the mouth.
don't be the one to do it. Because then both of you go to jail, right? Now, if they're going to imminently kill you, then you can use lethal force to defend yourself.
Makes sense.
Everybody tracking here or no?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so we're going to read these two real quick. But before we read these, I just wanted you guys to understand you must be reacting to someone else's actions. That reaction must be necessary, and you can only use the same level of force against them that they're using against you. So if they're using less lethal force against you, then you cannot use lethal force against them. So what if when you were
Yeah, you can die.
could you die if
Yes,
they were
you can.
Then you can shoot them.
Pop down one of those.
That happens more often than people get shot first. Look it up.
Dang.
Then a world star. You see a lot of it. One just happened Christmas Eve. It was sad. It was a dude and literally trying to run over his ex-wife and kids on Christmas Eve. And the cops are like, dude, knock it off. And he's like chasing around and they smoke him. Anyway. 776.012, use of threat, use of force in defense of a person. Okay. These two paragraphs that we're about to read are so important that even when you are in your home, you have to be in compliance with what we're about to read. Okay. You could be an inmate at the county jail. You're still allowed to defend yourself, but you have to be in compliance with what we're about to read, right? You can be in the courthouse, you can be on an aircraft, you can be at your kid's school, it doesn't matter. With or without your concealed weapon permit, you are allowed to defend yourself. But you must be in compliance with these two paragraphs. Paragraph 1. A person is justified in using or threatening to use force, except deadly force, against another when and to the extent that the person reasonably believes that such conduct is necessary to defend himself, herself, or another against the other's imminent use of unlawful force. A person who uses or threatens to use force in accordance with this section does not have a duty to retreat before using or threatening to use such force. So you do not have a duty to retreat before using or threatening to use such force. You don't have to run away first. You could just stand your ground and say, leave me alone, go away, stop. Right? I don't want to fight you. Go away.
They didn't say how
You could do
loud
that.
though.
Make sense?
Look.
Okay. But do not say things like, well, let's go. You know, don't do stuff like that, because then you can't claim self-defense because you've agreed to it. You've invited it. You wanted it.
Yeah.
Everybody tracking there?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how loud? You
Paragraph
have to
2. A person is justified in using, and this is, by the way, what we're about to read is exactly what they want to get rid of. The entire paragraph. Again, assume that I'm a liar and look it up and read it on your own. Paragraph 2. A person is justified in using or threatening to use deadly force if he or she reasonably believes that using or threatening to use such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself, herself, or another, or to prevent the imminent commission of a forcible felony. A person who uses or threatens to use deadly force in accordance with this subsection does not have a duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her ground if you are in a place that you have a right to be and you are not engaged in criminal activity. So if you are in a place that you have a right to be, your home, gas station, grocery store, right? Any private or public, if you have a right to be there and somebody tries to kill you, you do not have a duty to retreat. You do not have to run away first. You could just stand your ground and say, go away, leave me alone, stop, that kind of stuff. Everybody tracking here or no? Okay. Now, when we read paragraph 2, they say to prevent imminent death. I think we understand what death is at this point in our lives, right? Well, or great bodily harm. What is great bodily harm? And great bodily harm is basically you could have died, but luckily you didn't. Okay, great bodily harm is essentially, and it is defined as loss of consciousness, severe scar tissue, or severe broken bone. Emphasis on the word severe scar tissue, severe broken bone. So when we talk about loss of consciousness, right? And again, we look at those statistics. If somebody is kicking you in the head and you're on the ground, could you die?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, if someone's choking you, could you die?
Yes.
Right? If somebody's hitting you upside the head with a rock, could you die?
Yes.
Or a brick or a baseball bat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So loss of consciousness. If you lose consciousness, you might not ever wake up again. You might be permanently brain dead or brain damaged. Okay. Great bodily harm. When you look into severe scar tissue, severe broken bone, emphasis on the word severe. Someone punches you in the nose, you break your nose, right?
Mm-hmm.
Could you die?
No.
No, it's a broken nose.
Well,
Sucks,
actually,
but-
yes.
Well, you would have already been dead if they were like, Jackie Chan,
You would already
Anyway,
been.
the point I'm making here is your nose is broken, right? Punch in the jaw, your jaw is broken. You're wrestling and you break your pinky or something. That's pretty common. You have a broken bone. Are you going to die from that?
No.
So you can't use lethal force at that point, right?
Oh,
Somebody has a baseball bat to try to crack your head open. Could you die from that?
yes.
Severe broken bone. Now you can use lethal force. Severe scar tissue. Someone punches you in the mouth and you bite your tongue, bite the tip of your tongue off, or your tooth goes through your lip. Are you going to die from that?
No.
Scar tissue, but it's not severe scar tissue. Someone has a box cutter, razor blade, they're trying to cut you. Severe scar tissue. You could shoot this person. Everybody tracking there or no?
Yes.
What if you jump like four people? Can you use it? Can you use
Well, it depends on the totality of the circumstances. His question was, what if like 4 people, 5 people, 20 people, 2 people, 100 people try to jump you and beat you up, right? Well, it depends on the totality of the circumstances. What I mean by that is, what are their intentions? If their intentions are just to smack the shit out of you and embarrass you, they don't like your hat, they take your hat. They don't like your flag, they take your flag. They don't like your little political signs, they take it. They take your kids' lunch money. Can you shoot them? No. Why? Because they're not trying to kill you, right? If it's like a bunch of little circus midgets and they're all butt naked and they're like, I'm gonna kill you, and they're like punching you in the kneecaps and kicking you in the chin, would you be justified in like shooting these midgets?
No.
Not at all, right? Now, if it's like, a giant behemoth dude and he just smacks you upside the head and takes your hat and spits on you, could you shoot him? No, he's not trying to kill you. Now, if this dude starts like ramming your head against the ground,
Yeah.
kill him, shoot him, right? Stab him, choke him, eye gouge, pop testicles, whatever you got to do. If this person is trying to kill you, or if these people are trying to kill you, then yes, you can use lethal force. But you must stop when the threat stops. You stop when they stop. Right? So you might draw the gun, and as soon as you draw the gun, all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, psych! I'm just joking. I don't want to get shot here." Right? You can't shoot them because they've stopped.
They
When
retreat.
the threat's over, you can no longer continue to threaten or to apply force. So you stop when they stop. Now, if you draw the gun and they continue, shoot them. Right? If you can't get to the gun, then you can use other forms of less lethal force. If you're justified in shooting them, you are also justified in using any force that is intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm, i.e. lethal force. You guys see how that works or no? All right.
They said that, let's say someone like has a gun, right? And the person like cannot something.
You've used lethal force, period. So if you show them the gun, draw the gun, touch the gun, talk about the gun, get back, I have a gun, what did you do? You threatened to use lethal force. You're only justified in threatening to use lethal force if you are also justified in using said lethal force. Make sense or no?
Yeah.
Okay, one more. What's the difference? Okay, like you get into something with somebody. as
Sure.
The lady was saying over there.
Yeah. And over the monster, the breathing dragon, sleep in his cave. What are we seeing about? All right, so let's say for example she doesn't like me. She doesn't like me. So she pushes me really hard, right? I trip over something, I fall on my back, and she sits on top of me like, Ronda Rousey, cage fighting MMA. She kind of like wraps her legs around me and she just starts punching me in the face as hard as she possibly can. Would I be justified in shooting her to stop this?
Yes.
No, because she's not imminent danger.
Why?
No.
Because that would not be reasonable.
Right.
That would not be necessary.
Exactly.
Why would it not be
You're
necessary?
not imminently.
Because based on my strength, based on my size, based on my experience,
Yeah, you're not gonna die.
You're not gonna die.
All right? I could just grab her by the wrist. I'm sorry, but baby, I love you. I'll never do it again. All lies, by the way. Fuck that guy. I could do it. I could just stand up, push her off.
You heard her say?
Right? Just like
He said,
push
"I'm
her
not
right in the
gonna
face,
fuck that guy."
that kind of thing. Right? Reasonably, I could overpower her in that circumstance to get her off of me.
Yeah.
Right? Reverse this. I do that to her. I don't like her. I push her. She falls down. I sit on top of her chest. I'm punching her face as hard as I can. Would she be justified in using lethal force?
Yes.
Yes.
Because she could die.
Absolutely. That's what we call disparity of force.
Yeah.
You're so desperate, you don't have a choice but to use lethal force. So, in that circumstance, if someone who knows what they're doing, I'm going to straddle you in such a way where you can't get to your belt line. Your hands can't get in your pockets, right? So I'm going to strategically make sure I get myself set up where I'm kind of around that mid-torso area. And now she's not going to be able to get up and she can't get to her pockets, and I'm able to, control her. So what options do you have? You can't get to your gun, can't get to your knife. What are you going to do? Right? And now you think about eye gouges, right? You got to be quick. They're not going to just sit there and let you do it, so you got to be quick, all right? Think about cracking the esophagus. Again, you got to be quick. They're not going to just stand there and let you do it, so it has to be quick and decisive. Pop a testicle, reach between their legs, right? So these are open-handed lethal force options that you could use. Okay, thanks for coming up.
You're welcome.
Oh, I thought he was about to do it.
The point I'm trying to make here is, if you're justified in using lethal force, you can use any form of lethal force, and there are circumstances where you're not allowed to carry a gun, right? When my kid went to school, he's not here today, my 11-year-old son, he came back, he was really upset one day, emotional, crying, frustrated, had a little shitty attitude, and I'm like, what happened, what's wrong? Nothing. What happened, what's wrong? Nothing. I sat down, played some video games, and finally he opened up, and he was like, Dad, they had us read some of the text messages and emails from 9/11, when those planes were about to crash, and all those people were sending like text messages to their loved ones because they knew they were going to die. They sent emails and voicemails. So they listened to some of the voicemails, read some of those text messages and emails, and he was really emotional about it. And he's like, Dad, I'm worried because we travel a lot. I know we're going to be traveling over the holidays. What are you going to do if we're on that plane and something happens? And I was like, son, TSA approves chopsticks and knitting needles.
Exactly.
So just understand that there are times where you're not allowed to have that gun.
You gotta
right?
do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Learn how to use your hands. Learn how to use your environment. Your environment gives you everything you need. People will bring to you what you need to deal with them. You can literally, if you know what you're doing, subdue somebody with their own t-shirt, tie them up in such a way that they can't see and they can't move.
I need that.
You just need to know what you're doing. It's one of those things where a lot of people buy guns and they're like, oh, they practice shooting. We call them drill queens. They're really good at running drills. Put them on a shot timer, beep, and everybody's like, that was fucking fast. And they're like, yeah, that's so cool. Well, cool. Let's punch them in the face really hard. And all of a sudden, when they taste their blood for the first time, they're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. And what do they want to do? Fall over the gun, because that's all they've trained to do.
Right.
Right? So, learn how to use your hands. More importantly, learn how to use your voice. Learn how to talk to people. Hey, dude, I'm sorry about that.
De-escalate.
I didn't mean to offend you.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm going to leave. I don't want any problems.
Yeah.
Right? Just de-escalate the situation. Get out of there. Right? Just because you can stand your ground doesn't mean it's a good idea to do so. You might lose that fight. Right?
Sure.
What about defending someone else?
Yeah, when you read both paragraphs 1 and 2, what does it say?
No.
To defend himself, remember they're written almost the same. To defend himself, herself, or another, right? So both paragraphs say that. You could use force, right, to defend himself, herself, or another. But again, you have to use the same level of force, right? Now, I'll tell you, just because you can doesn't mean you should. You heard me say that earlier, right? Go to his car. He sees a man on top of a woman in the backseat of a vehicle engaged in sexual intercourse. The back door is open. Their legs are hanging out, and he is violently choking her. He draws his gun, rips him off of her. Turns out it's a consensual act. She liked to be choked, and they're dating. So what he thought was rape was not rape, right? Good friend of mine, a really big dude, plays football. Big black guy, tattoos, long dreadlocks. Really good dude. Anyway, works for the Dollar Tree doing loss prevention off of OBT. This little old lady looking like Mary Poppins, comes in there and starts stealing a bunch of stuff, right? So she has a dress, a baby stroller with a fake baby, and she's putting stuff up her dress and shoving it down her multiple layers of leggings. So she ends up, leaving the store. She goes to the parking lot. My buddy follows her, and he's like, "Man, we need to recover our stolen items." She's like, "Oh, wait, you're making me scared," So he grabs her by the wrists.
Oh, damn.
Right?
Why he touched
She
her?
falls on the ground dramatically, like, "Oh my God, stop! Help! He's hurting me! Help! Help! Help!" Right? You're driving down the street, and you see this like big behemoth, strong dude. He's like one big fucking walking bicep. And he's like doing this, and this little old sweet-looking lady on the ground. Help! Help! Help!
Yeah,
What do you think?
it's
is
perception,
happening?
yeah.
Strong arm robbery.
Yeah.
Right? Like, let's save this little old lady. So you can see really quickly, George fucking Zimmerman, right? He sees something, he doesn't like what he sees, calls the police, follows him. What did the court say? The court said, he didn't really break the law, but society said, fuck that guy. Right? So if you see something and you feel like you want to help, be a good witness, call the police, leave the area.
Thank you.
I get a lot of people that are like, hey, something happens, I hope I'm next to you. If someone shoots up that movie theater, I hope I'm sitting next to you. I'm not going to help you.
That's right.
It's for me. It's for my wife.
Exactly.
I hate to say that, but I'm not your savior.
Thank you.
Come on.
I could pull out my gun. I can stop the threat. Well, what happens if, after I neutralize the threat, some other dad or mom comes in there with like popcorn and sodas, and they see me standing there with my gun and some dead people on the ground?
Right.
They're going to shoot me thinking I'm the bad guy.
Right.
What happens when law enforcement shows up and they see me standing there with the gun in my hand, right? And I just finished dealing with the problem. It looks really bad. I'm probably going to get shot. So I want to go home the same way I left. If we're sitting next to an exit, I'm taking the exit. Get between me and the exit, well, you're going to quickly get out of my way. It's really simple. So, it just is what it is. So, a lot of people are like, if I get a gun, I'm going to, save the world. I'm Ricky Recon. Look, you might have the tools, but do you have the skills?
Right.
Facts.
And you might have the skills, but do you have the tools? There might be a circumstance where, like, I can handle this, but I don't have the appropriate equipment to handle it. So, don't do it. Make sense?
Yes.
Right? So avoid conflict, avoid confrontation, because that's going to increase the likelihood that you return home safe to your family, safe to live, right?
Yeah.
It'll also increase the likelihood that you avoid that public scrutiny that might come afterwards. Okay. Anyway, any other questions in reference to when you can, when you can't, when you should, when you shouldn't? Of any kind, including any attached porch, whether the building or conveyance is temporary or permanent, mobile or immobile. It has to have a roof over it, including a tent, and be designed to be occupied by people lodging therein at night. Not or designed, and designed to be occupied by people lodging therein at night. So your front porch or your back porch most likely is not considered part of your dwelling. I know it says including any attached porch, but is your attached porch designed for people to be lodging therein at night?
No.
If it's enclosed and it's air conditioned and you have like a couch out there, maybe a pool table or a TV, then yeah, you could reasonably sleep out there at night, right? But if it's just an open air porch or you just have a screened enclosure, well, it's not designed to be occupied by people lodging therein at night. Everybody tracking, see how that one works? So don't just shoot people because they're on your porch. All right?
I was thinking camping.
Yeah, your tent is in there. If you're going camping and you're in a tent, yeah, your tent becomes your dwelling, right? Your motorhome becomes your dwelling. That truck becomes your dwelling. Your car breaks down on the side of the road, you're waiting for a tow truck, you kick back, you take a nap. That becomes your dwelling, right? Pull over to a rest area, fall asleep for a little bit, that becomes your dwelling, right? That is your occupied vehicle. That's the way the law looks at it. If someone tries to break the window and force their way in, open the door and get inside your car, you could just shoot them. Right? You could. Oh, interesting set of circumstances. Again, just because you can doesn't mean you
should.
Just because it's legal doesn't mean it's smart or safe. Doing surveillance, I was issued a 2005 white Mitsubishi Galant. It had one working headlight. The car was all banged up and scratched. Had 4 different tires and like rims and hubcaps that didn't match. And it was a surveillance vehicle, right? So it blended into the area that we were working. I know. Anyway, so I get there, I get in position. Little did I know, that year, make and model, you put it in park and all the doors automatically unlock. So I didn't know that. I get there, put it in park, doors unlock. I didn't know the doors unlock. See a little thing, dude finishes his drug deal, runs over to the side of my car, opens up the passenger seat and jumps in with me. Instantly, I draw my gun, because I'm thinking carjacking or something, right? I muzzle check him in the face. He squeals like a little girl, jumps out, runs behind the trunk area. I bail out of the driver's seat. Hands. Let me see your hands. I see 2 little shaking hands come up over the trunk. We secure him. Back up convenes. Anyway, what are you thinking? What are you doing? Oh, I thought you were my ride. I'm waiting for my ride. bullshit. You know, you're trying to carjack me. No weapons. Okay, so carjacking, throw that one out. You know, interviewing him. No, man, seriously, I thought you were my ride. Well, as we're interviewing him, guess who comes pulling into the apartment complex?
His ride.
A white 2005
So
They
he could have
see
got
us,
killed.
we see them, they make a U-turn and leave their buddy with us.
Oh,
They were
wow.
up to no good. They wanted no part of that party. So anyway, we cut them loose. Pour all the windows to your car, pull over, put it in park, turn the vehicle off, and keep your hands where you can see. That's it. Okay. Why are you putting on the interior lights and why are you rolling down the windows? Well, there's tint on just about all these cars. You know? And when they come walking up to your car, they want to make sure that there's nothing illegal in there, or they make sure nobody's hiding back there with a gun or something that's going to pop up and hurt them. So lower all the windows, turn on the lights. Now they can see. So it eliminates the need for like the flashlight in the face and all that kind of fun stuff. And then just keep your hands where they can see them. Now, when I say keep your hands where they can see them, you don't want to like do one of these because they're like, "Oh, I got a good one. They've been through this before, right?" So just put your hands on the steering wheel and chill. Give your hands something to do. What you don't want to do is go, "Oh, you got to see him. So what do I do with him?" Right? Just pull on the steering wheel, just like you're driving, and relax. Don't like white knuckle death grip the steering wheel. Just chill. Separate your paperwork from the gun. You know, you don't want to have your registration, proof of insurance in your glove box with your gun, right? That's not going to end well. It's a good way to get hurt. So make sure you take some time and think about what you're doing. Separate the paperwork from the gun if you're going to put your gun in the glove box. Anyway, have your driver's license and your concealed weapon permit together, so you just pass them both simultaneously. Right? What have you done by giving them both? You kind of put them on notice that you're
You have a
probably
gun.
carrying.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll ask you, hey, are you carrying? Yeah, I'm carrying for purposes of lawful self-defense. And usually when you say something like I'm carrying for purposes of lawful self-defense, they're like, oh, okay, this person knows a little something about something. Right? You know, where are you coming from? Where are you going? I don't answer questions. Why don't you answer questions? I don't answer questions. You're one of those? I don't answer questions. Can I search your car? No. It's the only question I'm going to answer. That's it. Don't be surprised if they kind of dig a little bit deeper to see what's going on because, you know, I'm married, dude. If I don't come home one night and I like, my wife is calling me and texting me. Anyway, the next morning I come back and she's like, where were you last night? And I say, I don't answer questions. How's that investigation going to go? Right? Fuck your constitutional rights. We're looking at, you know, phone records and bank statements and credit card, you know, browser search history, right? Like you name it. Oh, man. So they're people just like you. And if you take that approach of I don't answer questions, they're going to think, what are you hiding? Right? You got a dead baby in the trunk or something? Like, what are you up to? You got a dead hooker back there? Like, what's up? So just know you can handle it however you want. Just make sure you comply. Even if they're illegally searching your vehicle and you know it, you could voice that. You can let them know, hey, I know damn well you don't smell marijuana, but comply with their directives because there's a good song out there. It's a punk rock song. It says, I fought the law and the law won. Right? I don't want to see you on the news or read about you in the newspaper. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I heard that you can't win on the streets at all.
Dude, save it for the courtroom. Most law enforcement officers are really good men and women. There are bad apples in every organization. I don't care. You know, you look at churches, you look at youth groups, you look at sports organizations, you look at the corporate America, politics. Law enforcement is no different. You look at doctors who molest and rape their patients while they're under anesthesia. You look at people in nursing homes and the RNs that beat the shit out of these old people that have Alzheimer's
you better talk
and
about
can't
that.
talk and take their jewelry and stuff.
Yeah, y'all. So we just got taught about some firearm stuff, and that's our instructor there. Even though we outside, I don't know, I don't trust that. Just got taught about road rage and being a highway bully. Samantha, you a highway bully?
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Don't believe them, y'all.
She be pulling up the people when they cut her off. She be like, I'm like, you can't just keep going.
You can't be doing that, Sam. Listen, we are no longer in Fort Lauderdale.
It's just a reaction.
Leave your Fort Lauderdale.
And see, right there. And once you get concealed, you can't even do that. Because you're provoking them.
Walk away, sis.
Well, I could use equal force.
So if they walk away, you need to walk away too, sis.
So if they look at me crazy, I can look at you.
Yeah, you can look at her crazy.
She look at them until they look at her.
You feel me?
You don't be doing that.
Oh, so you initiate.
No, I don't initiate.
They be over there pretending like they ain't see what they just did, and she pulls up next to them. Come on,
I can't talk because that's me too. Look at Beastie. This big old.
You guys, real quick.
So stab the target, bring it into my shoulder, safety off. Which function might help if I put the fucking magazine in the gun, right? So anyway, so you can shoot this one, you can shoot this one, you can shoot one of those small ones. That's up to you. All right. Safety back on.
Which one is, where's the safety?
Right here. Safety off. On. Off. On.
Oh, because it's moving from time.
Yep. Ooh, don't touch trigger. Keep the booger hook off the bang switch, right? So take your finger, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna put it right there. All right. Yep. So now go ahead and pick it up. Just like a handgun. Yep. Exactly. And this hand we want up here on the forehand.
Okay.
There you go. All right. So take your finger and push that button in. Yep. Good. Now watch the front sight. Keep it in the center of your target. Shoot them 5 times. Watch the front sight. You need to look down that hole, and through that hole you should see the front sight. And the front sight should be level with that. Good. So that's going to tell you where your bullet's going to go. And then slow, steady press. There you go. Shoot the big ones. Keep it easy. Keep it simple for now. Good. Finger off, safety on. So remember, push that thing on the other side. Good. Set it down. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Not too bad. Who's next? So your eye needs to be behind that little hole. Look down that hole at your front sight. Make sure the top of the front sight is level with this. Shoot it better. Safety off. Remember, with your trigger finger, push the little button. So with your trigger finger, push the button. Good. Now focus on that front sight, looking through the rear sight notch. And whenever you're ready, it's okay. Focus on the front sight. Slow, steady press. Watch the front sight. Keep the front sight in the center of your
You see that little black thing, Samantha?
and slowly press the trigger. You need to be focus on this.
Yeah.
But this has to be level with this. All right? And it also has to be on the target. You have to see it through that hole. Look through that
You
hole.
see it?
Take your right eye. Can you see through that hole? Okay. Can you see the front sight through the hole? Okay. Focus on the front sight. Slow, steady press. And instead of thinking about how do I shoot, what you're thinking about is how do I solve this problem without having to shoot. And then when you need to shoot, running the gun becomes a subconscious act. Kind of like tying your shoe. If I were to blindfold you, could you tie your shoe?
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's practice.
Because you've done it so many times, right? So with shooting, if you're going to carry a gun to defend yourself or someone else, then you really need to practice and get those repetitions in. Again, because it should become a subconscious thought. Obviously, the act of pressing the trigger and shooting somebody, that's a very conscious thought. So you don't accidentally shoot someone, but the act of running the gun should be subconscious. All right, so then you pick it up, just like this, right? Fingers here, because I want to touch that safety, and then I can shoot. Safety on. So safety off, safety on. Here's your magazine, and you push and pull. Make sure the magazine's in. Got it? All right. RSOs, I need you guys to help load some magazines for me. I'm not sure if that's it. So, grab another. Good. And rack this. So pull this back really hard, let it go. And that's going to load around. Okay. So take a look, see what we got. So when we look in there, what do we see? Didn't really work, right? So pull it back, let it go again. Really hard. 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 There you go. Good. So grip it with your finger just like that. Good. All right. So go ahead and line up your sights. Line up your sights. Good. Yeah, you can rest on this if you'd like. It's probably going to take a little longer, feel a little more uncomfortable. It's usually better to stand upright. But that's up to you. There you go. And
Look
now,
at this girl.
with your
Look how
cheek,
she's standing.
you want your cheek on the gun. So instead of moving your head to the gun, real quick, you're going to malfunction. So finger off, rack it. And you can certainly shoot the red one, but you're not allowed to miss. So right there, good. Finger straight. Right, in order to shoot that red target, you really need to be accurate. So look through that hole. Make sure the front sight's level with this. Make sure the front sight's in the center of the red. And then touch and press the trigger. But make sure you don't move the front sight. So watch the front sight the whole time. And little by little, apply pressure to the trigger. There you go. Good job. Finger off, hit that little button. Shooting those little red targets is not easy. You know, I mean, this is my job, so I can make it look easy, but it's not.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, guys. So we are done doing our gun range fun. We have our concealed certificate, and now we need to go ahead and do the concealed license and send it to the state, and we will have our permit. So yeah, we had a blast. I enjoyed myself. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Say bye. Say bye, Sam.
Bye.
Next time we'll have more people, but this time I ain't just gonna say that. Goodbye.
Oh yes, I need all the tea. So, girl, what? For real. I know. Oh my God, that just blew me. Me too. I know you lying. Wow.